Hello everybody, I want to do this video to show you how we make this what we call the bucket tote bag. And the reason why we call it the bucket tote bag is because basically what we've done, we've taken our bucket bag pattern and we have used that for the top of the bag, and we took the bottom of the bag, the bottom half of the bag, well, the lower half of the bag from the tote bag, and we've created this what we call a bucket tote bag. So it have the bucket look at the top, but it have the tote bag without a gusset bottom. And we did this, and we have it in about 5 or 6 different sizes. I mean, this is the next to the smallest size. This is, I think, the next to the largest size. And this one here is a 18 by 20. This one is a 10 by 10. And we have one smaller than this. And this one here, this pattern here is in between this one and this one. So I'm going to show you how to make this bag. Now normally I will show you how to make the pattern, whatever bag that we're going to make. In this case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how, well, let me back up. Normally what I would do is that I would make the pattern, and then I would take the pattern and put it on the leather and cut it out. Well, for this bag, what we did was that we sent this to a company called Cut Form, and what they did, they cut this one here out for us. They have some equipment that can digitize. We took them our pattern, and they digitized the pattern, and then they took the leather hide, and then they cut out the bag. They cut out these little tabs here. These are the tabs that goes right here. That's what these are. So they cut out 4 tabs, and they also cut out these tabs here that's for the strap. Now what they did was that they penetrated the leather with these small little holes. They would have punched it out if we would have had the holes on the pattern punched out. We just had a dot on the pattern itself. That's why there's only just a little dot here, so we'll know where to punch the holes. But anyway, what I want to do is that I want to show you this short video of how they cut this out. Now, if you go to our other YouTube channel, which is Dallas Designing Dreams Showcase channel, you can see the full process of how they digitized it and how they cut it out. And if you get a chance, go to their website. I will put their website in the video so you can see the website. Go to the website and you can see their prices. The prices are great. So if you're someone that you don't want to do a whole lot of cutting, but you want to be able to get your bags cut out, and you can have them in stock if someone wants them, and you just make them as they're ordered, this is a good place for you. Or if you want to get your pattern digitized, or even if you want to have your patterns cut from the oak tag paper, or to just plain pattern paper, to like a very thin plastic, a pattern plastic that you can get it cut out of, and that way the pattern will last you forever. You don't have to worry about tearing up or anything like that. But anyway, let me show you this video, and then when we get back from watching the video, we will start making this bag. Oh, let me say this here. On this bag here, we have a zipper window. You don't have it here because we did not have it cut out on the pattern. If we would have had the zipper window cut out, it would have cut that machine would have cut that zipper window out for us. But anyway, watch the video and we'll come back and we'll get this started.
Okay, so go ahead and remove the leather. First piece, second piece. And for Arthur, when he goes to hand punch these, we could use an air drill to punch these out, but without any specification, we've just marked it with our awl, and there you can see we have all 4.
Okay, now that we've had a chance to look at the video, now that's only part of the video. You can see the complete process. It's not that long. If you go to our other channel, Dallas Design and Dreams Showcase channel, you can see the full video. Also, that one of the things that I want to show you is that we're getting ready to do this bag and this one here also. We'll just build this one as we're building the main one. But if you look at this one here, see how much wider this bottom part is compared to this one right here. This one is only a 2x2, which will give you a 3-inch bottom, and because you have the 4 inches, but you got to take off a 1/2 inch on each side for your seam. So that cuts it down and makes this here a 1.5 on one side and 1.5 on the other side. So that's what's going to give you your 3-inch bottom. This one being 3.5 inches, 3.5 by 3.5, this is going to give you a 6-inch bottom. So whatever size bottom that you want, you can get that by how wide that you have this right here. If it's a 4.5 by 4.5, it'll give you a 8-inch bottom. So look at it from that perspective, and that's what's going to give you this wide bottom. But like I say, this one here is only 2 by 2, and I may decide to go ahead and make it a little wider. I'm not sure, but I may make it a little wider because a 3-inch bottom it's pretty. I think it's pretty narrow for a bag this size. Which I think this one here could have even been wider, which will allow the bag to stand up better. See how much better this one stands up? This one will fall over, so which means that the bottom could have been wider. So I think I may go ahead and make this one here wider. And so that's the next part I think we'll do. Oh, also, instead of me using these tabs the same color as the bag, to me, it doesn't give the bag a pop. I have a black here. I'm going to use this black on here. And basically, instead of me cutting out some tabs to put on this one, I think what I'll do, I'm going to put a 2-inch strip that's going to go across the bottom. And I think I'll do my handle tabs out of the black also. So I have black tabs and black strip across. I think what I'll do now is go ahead and cut a 2-inch strip that's going to go across the back, do the handle tabs, but I also think I'm going to make this wider. That 2-inch by 2-inch to me is just a little too small. So I'm going to do a 4 by 4, which will make it be, the bottom will be 7 inches wide. So I think that's much better than having it just as 1.5 inches. 3 inches wide. So I'm going to do a 4 by 4. So right now it's 2 by 2. So I'm going to turn this into a 4 by 4, I hope I don't mess this up. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We turn this into a 4x4. But it's going to also make this bag a little shorter because we're taking away 2 inches from the bottom. So right now, this will be the bottom right here, the way it's cut out right now. But once I cut it out of 4x4, this will become the bottom. So you're actually taking off 2 inches from the bottom. So it won't be as tall as it originally started off. I could have made it the same height if I would have decided to do a 4x4 from the very beginning, and I would have extended this end down here to make by 2 inches, and that would have made the difference. So this is going to be a 4x4. And when you're cutting this, you don't want to cut all the way up to this corner here, because with a rotary cutter, if you do that, you can cut past that, and you don't want to cut past it. So I'll cut up so far, and then I will stop, and I will use the scissors for the rest of it. Now I'll just use the scissors, the tip of the scissors, to cut that out. Now I'll do this other side. And I'm going to go ahead and finish up cutting the rest of them, and then we will come back and get started with cutting the strip that's going to go across. Okay, I'm going to cut out the last one. And then we will get started with cutting out the strip on the bottom. And what I'll do later in the video, I will show you how to cut out these tabs here that goes at the bottom so it fits. The process that we use to come up with the right measurement for these bottom tabs. Okay, so now that we got these cut out, now what we'll do, we'll cut out a strip that goes down at the bottom. See, this will give us a much wider bottom. So if you do that times 2, it's going to be a pretty wide bottom. And for a bag this size, I just think it should have a wide bottom. It doesn't have to, but so we're going to cut out a 2-inch strip. Make sure that we have enough. So that's 21 inches wide. It's 21 inches, so just to, I always like to start off, I always like to start off with a straight edge. This edge, it looks like it's straight, but it's really not. So I'm going to cut it and get a good straight edge. Now this is straight, so I'm going to do a 2-inch wide. You know, let me see something. 3 inches will look good. One, two, three. 4 inches. I think I'm gonna do 4 inches wide. I was originally thinking 2 inches, but I'm going to go with 4. A 4-inch wide strip at the bottom. Let me turn this way, because the way I'm cutting that is not the way that you really should be doing it, where you're going from the side. You really need to be behind your cut. So let me do that the right way. Okay, so we're going to do a 4-inch wide. This is the right way to cut this, so you're behind your cut and not going from the side. Okay, so this will go here. So that will be the bottom half of the bag. It won't be the bottom, it'll just be the bottom half. So it'll give it a look of this black at the bottom, and at the bottom half of the front and back, and then the bottom of the bag will be the same color as the bag itself. So now what I need to do is that I need to trace out me 4 tabs and then cut them out, and I will use some chalk to trace them out. And I'll cut out 4 of these here, 4 of these tabs. And I'll just cut out 1 on camera, and then I'll do the other 3 off camera. So I won't bore you with that. And then I'll just use the scissors to cut this out. Now, like I said, we do have this pattern in about 4, maybe 5 different sizes. So we'll do us 2 tabs and in the bottom. So that's what that would be like. So let me cut out the other 3, and then we will get started with sewing these on. Okay, now we're going to cut out the last one. And then we can start. Oh, also, after we cut this out, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the zipper window. Get that cut out. And we can select our zipper. Okay, now that we have these cut out, we'll go ahead and cut out the zipper window. All this out of the way. Got this done. So, the way you do that, cut out your zipper window, first thing I want to do is I'm going to fold this over and I'm going to get my center. Okay, this is my center right here. Now I'll get the center on the other side. And the reason why I'm doing it on both sides, because by getting the center right now, that would allow me to center up my zipper. And you might have another way of finding your center. For me, I just fold it. Some people will take a ruler and measure. I just fold it. Now let me get a little tool. I'm going to make a little knot. Now this is a tool that is used to, excuse me, to make notches on patterns. Excuse me. And I will put in the at the bottom of the video to where you can find this tool. It's not expensive, but it really helps us. We don't use them so much for patterns, but we use them when we're making a bag now that we can mark it, so we know, instead of just using a pen or a pencil mark, we can use this little tool here to put a notch there. And this helps us when we attach the zipper, and you'll see once we get to that part. But I wanted to center this up. But also, what this will help you with is, when I go ready to put in the pocket, so I'm going to measure, I think I'm going to go down 4 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches. I'm going down 5 inches. And this is my center where I just made that little notch. And so what I would do is I would just find a place on the ruler to make it the center. So I'm at 11. So this line number 11, and I'm going up 5 inches. I'm going up 5 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches. But I want to make sure that at the top it's levered off, and that will give me a straight line here. So my zipper is going to be 5 inches. I'm going to go down further than that, you know. I'm going to go 6 inches. I'll go lower than that. I'll go 6 inches. So in that way, it gives me enough room when I get ready to put my tabs on. When I get ready to put my tabs on, I have enough room to fold this. And you know, as I look at this, I'm gonna go ahead and go 6.5 inches. I'm gonna go down 6.5 inches, just to be safe. And I have a lever at the top, so I'm going to draw me a line across here. That's going to be the top of my zipper window. And then I'm going to only make the zipper window 1/4 inch wide. So I'll lay 1/4 inch on top of the line I just drew. So this is the width of my zipper window, but I need to, what I need to do now is I need to line this up, and then I'm going to go just to get this right, line this up. And you can find another way to do this, but this is my center. It's right here is my center. So I'm going to go over let's see here, let's go over 9, let's go 8, let's go 6 inches this way, and then we'll turn this around, and then we will go 6 inches this way on this side. And now what that does, that gives us the same amount from here to here, from here to here. So this is going to be our zipper window. Then we'll go ahead and cut it out. I'm going to use the rotary blade to do it. And I'm cutting on the inside. So if I make a mistake, I'm cutting it on the inside. So if I make a mistake, that mistake will go inside this zipper window. It won't go outside and cut up the pattern of my bag. And I'm going to start about 1/2 inch from where we should be stopping. And I'm going to stop about 1/2 inch where we should be stopping. So in that way, I don't cut past my line. So just to give you an idea what I'm talking about, I only cut up to right here. I didn't go all the way to the line, because I don't want to go past the line, because the blade is round, and because it's a round blade, it can easily go past the line if you try to cut up to the line. So now what I'll do, I'll use the X-Acto knife to cut up to the line. Now to cut out this vertical line, I will use, let's see here. I will use this blade here, which is about the same width of that vertical line, which is about 1/4 of an inch wide. And everybody have their own technique and their own tools that they use, but I'll just take this and I'll just cut this out. And I'll do the other side. That's it. So now what we'll do, we'll select the zipper and the lining, and then we can start putting this together. So I'll get all this moved out of the way. We'll select the zipper and the lining, and then we'll go forward. Okay, now I think what we'll do is go ahead and cut out the lining for the bag. I think we'll go ahead and use this one here. I think, let's see, if I can get this. You know, I was going to use this line in here, but I don't think so now, because by looking at it and looking how this is, these edges look here, like I said, I don't know fabric that well, but I think if I cut this is what I'm going to end up with, this type of problem. So I'm not going to use this, even though it's pretty and it would really go well with the bag itself. So I think I better go with my second choice. This is a cotton. I'm not sure exactly what this is, but this is a cotton, and this one should work out just fine. So what we'll do, it's not going to work because it's not wide enough, so I can cut it all at the same time. So let me undo this. So I need to trace out and cut out 2 of these. Just not big enough. So I'm going to trace out 2. I'm going to make some type of second little small bag to go inside. Okay, so now we have both of these, the lining for the bag cut out. The next thing we'll do is take a measurement for the pocket. For this pocket, and cut out 2 pieces of fabric that will be used for the lining for this pocket. Let's see here. This pocket is 12 inches wide. So I think I'm going to go, since it's 12, I'm going to go a ½ inch past each end, so that'll make it 13. So I need to cut out two 13, and I think the pocket would hang down. I'm going to cut out two 13 by 8, and that would be for my pocket. So two 13 by 8. Let me get a larger ruler. This ruler here it's a 12.5 by 12.5, so this makes it much easier for me to cut out my 13 by 8. So I'm going to do a 12.5, go this way, 12.5, and I'm going to add another ½ inch by 8. Then I'll trace out a second one. Make sure I'm using the most of this fabric. You know what? I think I can get it out of this. I don't want to waste the fabric. Two 13 by 8. This one here is actually a 13 by 9, so I'll just keep it at 13 by 9. So I'll cut out two of these, and then we'll start putting it together. So I'll go off camera and do this. Okay, now that we have the lining cut out, so the next thing I want to do is set up the zipper for the pocket lining. So basically what I'm going to do is that I want to, let's see how wide did I do this. I cut it just to the exact size. I should have cut it a little wider, like a ½ inch wider on each side. I did not, so since I did not, I'm not going to go back and cut it again. So I'm going to make this work. So now I need to attach the lining to the zipper, so when you open up the pocket, you will see a finished look. So what I need to do, the zipper will go in this way. So this part of the lining here will be sewn on, is it like this? No. This part of the lining here will be sewn on this way. So I will sew this on, some pins. pin this down. And I want to make sure that I pin it and sew it to where it is as close to the edge as possible, to where you don't see the zipper over the top of the lining, because I want to be as close as possible. And I'm just going to put a few pins in here so I can sew this and keep it straight. Some people can do this without pinning it. I'm not that good. Sew this. Okay, let's pin this here. I'm gonna put one more right here so I don't have that big gap. Now this one we sew on this way. I'll sew across here. Now on the other side, it would do the same thing. Is that this one we sew on? Let me mark this. And now I can unzip it. Oh, I'm zipping up now. I can unzip it now. So this one on this side, in order for me to sew it and it do not, when you open it, it's a finished look. So this one will need to sew this way. No, is that right? Yes, that's right. Okay, I will have to sew it this way. So when you open it, you're seeing a finished look. So let me pin this, and then we'll come back and sew. So I'll go ahead and pin this one here down. Okay, now that we're finishing up pinning this one, now we can sew. Now we can sew this. Let me move this out of the way. The lining pinned to the zipper. Let me just unzip this. So what we're going to do, I'm going to sew this, but I'm going to just sew it as close to the edge as possible. So I want to make sure I'm very close to the edge. As possible. I think I'm there. Let me do a back stitch. Because you always want to do your good back stitch when the zippers start and finish, because you're going to be putting a lot of stress on that zipper. Pen. Trying to see if I got too close right here. I think I'm okay. So now what we'll do, we'll sew the other side. Okay, now that we have this sewn, we can now start put the zipper. Oh no, I have to finish. We can now put the zipper in the pocket and attach it to the lining. I'm sorry, not the lining, but to the bag itself. So we're going to attach it to the bag. So just to show you what this is like after we have sewn it, and you can see why that it was sewn the way it was. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to take the front of the bag, and then we're going to glue and sew the zipper to the bag. So now we will sew the zipper to the bag, and then we can close up the pocket. And then after we do that, we'll start putting the overlay on the bottom of the bag. So once we put the pocket in, then we will put the overlay on. And then we can start attaching the tabs. We can start attaching the tab, but the first thing I wanted to do was get this zipper and pocket in, and that way we can work around it and do everything that we need to do. Okay, now that we have the lining sewn to the zipper, what I did do off camera, I did go and I pressed down the lining so it's laying flat. So what we're going to do now is attach the lining to the bag. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to just glue around the edges, and then I will lay the zipper down and glue it and then attach it. And I'm using contact cement glue to do this. And this is just to hold it in place until I sew it. I'm not gluing it down to have the glue to hold it down, to keep it in place. Only just to sew the zipper to the bag. And what I'll do, I'll let this dry for a minute, and then I would insert the zipper. And I think I would also go ahead and glue this bottom piece. I don't need to glue on that. Glue this bottom piece on right here. So we'll let this dry. We'll let this, well, you know what, this is good enough. I'm going to pull the zipper back to where I have it sewn onto the lining. And I'll just place this. Just turn it over and just straighten it out. I want to center it up as close as possible. Something is underneath. I think I'm gonna go ahead and sew this, so I'm not trying to handle this while I'm gluing this other piece on, but I need to get this straight. Looks crooked. I think I'm gonna go ahead and sew this, put it in place. So in that way, I'm not trying to glue these bottom pieces on and keep this here in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew this, and then we'll come back and glue these pieces on down here. Now what I did was I took the regular foot off and I put the zipper foot on so I could sew around the zipper without the foot hitting up against the zipper teeth. So I think I'm going to start I'm going to start at the top. And I'm just sewing as close as possible right up against the window of the zipper foot. I really like using this machine since we changed out the motor and put the reducer on it. I don't have to turn the wheel with my hand. It just gives me so much more control. I'm controlling everything with my foot. Need to go about a half a stitch. Now, one thing you want to make sure, and that is that you have your lining, you have the bottom part flat, and the top part going the other way, because if you have the top part going down, you're going to sew right over the top of it, and you're going to have a very small pocket. You won't be able to put much off in there. My glue is not sticking so well. So I have to use my finger to kind of keep it pressed down while I sew. Now, one of the things I have learned is that if your machine and the mechanism look like this right here, a size 138 thread works just perfect with these machines. If it only just have one knob here, size 69, but this one, just perfect. The only bad thing about it is that you can't find a whole lot of colors of thread in the 138. Okay, now let's see if I can sew across the zipper teeth without it getting jammed up. Okay, I made it through that. Okay. Now that we have that done, we can now go and do the bottom. So this is going to be our pocket. One of the things I want to do is show you that I made a mistake while I was sewing this, and my zipper moved on me, and it's going up, down, back up, and I didn't realize until I was finished sewing it. I didn't put enough glue on it to hold it down while I was sewing, and really while I was sewing, I didn't even notice that it was moving on me. So I'm going to take the thread out and re-sew this to show you how to correct something like that. So I'm gonna go off camera, take the thread out, and then I'm going to re-glue it, and then we're going to re-sew it. Okay, now we're going to re-sew this. I could have faked it and went on through and just act like nothing was wrong, but I just could not allow myself to do it. So we're going to go back and we're going to re-stitch this. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to start in the same hole we started in before, and we should be okay because the machine should line up just like it did the first time I sewed it. So basically what I'm doing, instead of me focusing on where I was focused the first time, which was the side of the foot and how far I was from the zipper, now my focus is on the needle and the holes to make sure that I stay lined up with the holes so the needle will go right back into the same holes that it did before. Now this is more like what it should be. And you would never know that that stitch was taken out and put back in. And I didn't do much talking during the process because I needed to focus and make sure that I was focused on the needle and the holes. But it came out great. So now we can move forward. I just want to show you that you can recover as long as your stitching is done right. Because you can always go back into the same holes, but if your stitches are off and you try to go back and correct that, you can't because the holes will be there. But this, it looks good. I'm satisfied with that. So okay, we'll go to the next step. Okay, now that we have the zipper sewn in, now what we're going to do, we're going to glue this piece to the bottom and sew it. So let's get it glued, and then we will sew it. And I'm using the contact cement glue. It just sticks better when you put in, when you're gluing onto a finished leather. If I was gluing the back side of it, I could use the water base, but I'm going to use the contact cement. We'll glue and attach one of them on camera, and then the other one we'll go off camera and do it. I don't want to bore you with doing the same thing twice. While this is drying, I will go ahead and glue the other one. All right, we'll leave that. I could have used some fresher glue. It would have spread it much easier than it's spreading right now. But I didn't think to do that before I start recording, so and I want to make sure that I get the edges real good. So when I start to sew, they will stick down much better and won't move on me. Because I'm not putting glue on the bag itself. If I was putting glue on the bag itself, I wouldn't have to worry about doing a full coverage. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to attach. And I want to make sure want to make sure that if this right here, these are lined up very even on both sides. This one here needs to be even. And I'll just cut this off. Then I'll do the same thing with the other one. And now what we'll do, we'll just sew across here, the top and the bottom. We won't sew across the side because when we sew the bag together, that'll get sewn. So we just want to make sure we get the top and the bottom. So let's go and sew that. And I want to make sure that my lining is not hanging down in the way that I end up sewing it. But, you know what? I need to put the regular foot back on. It'll just work much better than the zipper foot for this application. This is always a challenge for me, is getting this lined up, which should be very simple. Okay. So now we'll sew I could sew this much faster, but I like sewing slow, especially when I'm sewing anything that's black, because for some reason my eyes just I'm not able to focus and stay focused when I'm sewing something black. But the great thing about this motor and having this reducer on here, I am mashing all the way down on the foot pedal, and this is the fastest it will go unless I change the speed. This machine have a digital motor, which is it's a servo motor, but I like it better than the ones that you use a knob and turn it down. My back's stitch. Okay, let's do the other side. Now the other half of the bag, I'll sew it off camera. So like I said, some things that I have to do twice, and there's no sense in showing you the same thing twice. And this is one of them. So I'll sew the other one off camera. A little too far. Now the other one I will sew off camera, and then once we get that sewed, we will do the tabs for the strap, for the straps. That's what that looks like. Looks good. It's a great looking stitch. So I'll do the other half of the bag, and then we will do the tabs. Get the tabs all prepared. That's it. So now we can do the tabs, and once we do the tabs and the O-ring holders for the strap, we can at least start constructing the bag. So it looks good. It looks good. I'm pleased with it. So we'll go to the next step. Okay, now that we have the zipper sewn in, the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to cut the splits and punch the holes for the O-ring tabs, and then we're going to line them up and sew them on. So first thing we'll do is we're going to cut this. Well, we're going to mark it first. I'm doing a 1/2 inch. It's hard for me to work with this ruler. Let me do a 1/2 inch. From the top. I'm going to do a 1/2 inch from each side. And then what we're going to do, we're going to punch this hole So basically what I did is that I punched a hole right where I had the lines cross, and then I will take the X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut this line here. And I'll just cut right up to the hole where I punched. I'll cut through this one. So this is where we will put our strap inside of here. So I'm going to do the other. You know what? I don't think that should have been a 1/2 inch. That should have been. That really should have been a 1/4 inch, because a 1/2 inch, I'm not going to be able to put too much in there. So let me redo this. It should have been a 1/4 inch, not a 1/2, because I need to be able to put at least a 1 inch. Yeah. So that should have been 1/4 inch. Quarter inch, and then we'll go a 1/2 inch from the top. Now that's much better. So now what I will do, I will punch this hole. Measure this before I go too far here. No, that's not right. I think I was right the first time. Okay, I was right the first time. This is 1 inch. It didn't look like 1 inch, but it's 1 inch, and that's what I need. I need 1 inch in order to put my O-ring holder in there. So I'm going to remark this to a 1/2 inch. I had it right the first time. Punch these holes. And I'll go ahead and do the other two off camera. So in that way I don't bore you with the other two. Okay, now that we have punched the holes and completing the split, at this point we can go ahead and measure up the tabs, excuse me, the tabs onto the, excuse me, onto the bag itself. So, move this out of the way. So what we're going to do, we're going to measure the tabs on here. And earlier when I cut this split here, the reason, there's two reasons. One is to line up the zipper and the lining, and the other one is for us to be able to line up our tabs. So I want to be kind of close to my stitch, not too close. So which means that it looks like I could do 3 inches. I could do 3 inches from the top. So I could do 3 inches from the top. Let's see here. Let's go with these two here. These are the two best looking ones that's close to the same. So we go 3 inches from the top, and I'm going to, this is my center here, so I'm going to line both of them up at the center, and then I'm going to go over 1, 2, 2.5 inches from the center. So it's 1, 2, 2.5 inches from the center. So I can glue these on now. But normally what I will do is that I will take another ruler and I will put it here. So in that way I can just, after I glue it, I can just drop it back in. You know, I don't like the way my tabs look. That one is okay. But this one here, I'm gonna recut this one. Yeah, I'll recut this one. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and glue these on and sew them, and then the other two on the other side, I will do those off camera. But this is how you could place your tabs on and make it straight to where everything matches up. So I'm going to they all look the same. Okay. So basically what I would do, two 2.5 inches. I will glue these. I'm using the contact cement glue. I'm not putting a lot of glue on it, but I do want it to stick and hold until I can sew it. And make sure you only just put it around the edges. So I can just take this this way, that helps me to be able to put this back down, and it's exactly where I need for it to be. So I'll do the same thing with this one. Set this up at a 1/2 inch. I mean 2.5 inches. And then I can go and glue this one on. Now what we can do is that we can sew these on, and then actually we can start putting the bag together. This part here, once you kind of get everything attached, putting this bag together is very simple and it's very easy to do. So that's what that's going to look like. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sew the tabs on. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to start right at the top center. And the reason why is because that's where I'm going to come back around and do my back stitch. And when I put my my O-ring tabs in, it'll hide where I did my back stitch, so everything will look complete. So that's where I'm going to start. So I won't do a back stitch until I come back around. I'm going to do like a half stitch here so I don't go too far. Now, because I have not sewn my lining together, I need to make sure that both pieces of the lining are facing downward, because if not, I can sew it right into the back of this tab here, and then I will have to go back and redo it again. So you can close up your lining before you do this. That would be the best thing to do, and that way you're not trying to work around your lining. Do a half stitch here. I went a little too far forward, so I'm going to back this up just a little more. There we go. Now this is where I'm going to do my back stitch. Someone just sent me, David Gore just sent me a link on eBay, a company that sells this 138 thread in a number of different colors. I just thought there was only like 3 colors out there, but he just sent me this link, and I'll put the link in the description box. But this is what that's going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up the other 3 off camera, and then we will start putting this bag together. Okay, let's start putting it together. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and sew up the pocket. I did not sew it up from the beginning, so I'm going to go ahead and sew up the pocket, and I'm going to cut off this excess right here once I sew it up. And after we do that, I think what I'm going to do, I was thinking about just making some other type of little bag to go inside of this bag and not put a pocket in, but I think I'm going to go ahead and put a leather pocket inside. I really would like to do a fabric pocket, but I am so intimidated by fabric. Well, I feel like I won't do the pocket right. So the leather pocket I know I can do correctly, so that's what we'll do. So I'm going to go ahead and sew up the lining, and then we will work on the pocket for the. Okay, what I did was I went off camera and put the pins in the lining to keep it from moving on me. Some people can sew without pinning down their fabric. I can't. I'm not that good with working with fabric, but some people are. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this. Give me a back stitch here. And I'm doing about a 1/4 of an inch seam. I'm not the fastest when it comes to working with fabric, but I can get it done. Do my back stitch. Now, because I was not able to stitch all the way up to here, so what I'll do, I will go off camera and I will stitch this by hand. And on the other side also, so I'll close that off because I'm not able to stitch all the way up to here with the sewing machine. So I'll go off camera, stitch that up, but then we're going to also go ahead and work on the pocket for the lining. But I have this extra fabric here. I'll just cut this off. take these pins out. And then this is our pocket. So that's our pocket. So now that we have the pocket for the outside of the bag done, and now I want to do a pocket for my lining. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this piece of leather here. So this pocket here, this should be big enough to put like a cell phone in or something, just to drop something in. But I'm going to put a zipper inside of it so it'll be secure. It just won't be just an open pocket. I'll put a zipper inside so it'll be secure. So let's go ahead and cut this out. And I'll just use this ruler here as my pattern for the pocket. It's a good size. And so what I'll do, this will become my pocket, and I'm going to do the same thing like I did with the outside of the bag, with the front of the bag, put a zipper window in here. So I'll cut out a zipper window, the same process the way I did that one, and then I will put a zipper in and I'll sew it all the way around, and then that would attach that pocket, and then we can start putting the bag together. Oh, I also need to go ahead and cut out, I'm going to cut out 4 pieces that's going to be I think like 6 inches by 2 inches for my O-ring holders. That's going to hold the rings that's going to go inside of these tabs. So I'll go ahead and get the pocket done, and then we'll cut out those 4 tabs. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to make the tabs for the O-ring that's going to go inside these tabs here. So I'm going to cut out 4 2 inches by 3 inches. I think that's what I need. 4 2 inches by 3 inches. And I'm going to cut out, 4 of them. And I'm going to cut a straight line to start with, because I don't know how straight the edges are on this leather. So I'm going to cut out a 2 inch. And the reason why I'm cutting out the 2 inches is because that would allow me to glue this, turn this inward, and that's what's in. Once I do that, it'll turn it into a 1 inch, because that's what I need, is a 1 inch strip for this 1 inch O-ring. So this is, so let's see here. So if I cut it out 3 inches, I'm gonna do 4 inches. 3 may be just a little too short. Let's see. Yeah, 4 inches. I'm going to cut this out 2 inches by 4 inches. Not quite long enough. So I'm going to cut out 4 of these. And I'm going to cut one out and glue it on camera. And the other ones I'll do off camera, so I don't bore you with cutting and folding 4 of these. You can also use your water-based glue to do this. This is not something you have to use contact cement for, but that's what I'm using right now. So if I took this, I'm gonna let it dry for about a minute. And then we're going to fold it. And the reason why I want it to dry so it becomes tacky. And once it becomes tacky, it'll hold much better. See how it doesn't want to hold? So I'm gonna let that set for about a minute, and then I'll come back and fold it. Okay, let's give it a try now. We'll fold this. So we will do 4 of these, and basically what's going to happen, I'll sew it, and then this is going to go inside of your tab like that. So we'll cut out the other 3 off camera, and then and let me go ahead and do the pocket. This is the pocket that I cut out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut a zipper window, and this is just going to be a small pocket that's going to be attached to the lining. And I'm measuring 1 inch from the top of the pocket. And then from there, I'm going to measure 1/4 of an inch from that line. So I'm going to line the ruler up 1/4 of an inch. So this is going to be my window. So now I'm going to measure 1 inch from the end of the pocket, and this is the same thing that I did to make the outside insert pocket for the bag. But the only difference is that I'm not putting a lining inside. The lining itself for the bag will become the lining for the pocket. So we're going to cut this out. And as always, I always like to put a starting point and a stopping point. So when I start to cut this, I don't go too close to this line here, because with the rotary cutter, I can cut past that because the blade is round. So this is my starting point. I'll use the X-Acto knife to finish this out. And I'll just cut right up to the end of the window. But I'm going to use this little small blade here to finish this out. So because I have this little line here, which is about 1/4 of an inch long, I'll use the small blade to finish this out. Now for the zipper for this one here, I'm going to use a black zipper. I would rather have used a black zipper on the bag itself, but my black zippers are just not long enough. My black zipper were not long enough to go all the way around to the other side. So that's why I used the blue zipper, because that's what I had as far as having a zipper that was long enough to go all the way around. So this zipper here, I'm going to glue this in. I'm going to glue this in, and then I will sew it all the way around, and I will not put a fabric lining because the lining itself will become the lining. So I'm going to glue this. You know what? I'm going to check and see if I have another zipper which have plastic teeth, so I don't have to waste this particular zipper here. If not, I will go ahead and use this black zipper. I'm going to go off camera and see if I can find it. Okay, I did find another zipper, but I just don't like the look of that one. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this one here. So I'll just take this, make sure I line it up. So now what I'll do, I'll sew around the zipper, and I'll go ahead and cut out 3 more of these tabs, and then we will sew. Okay, now that we have all 4 tabs cut and glued, now we can sew. Now we will go and sew the tabs and the zipper. Okay, what we'll do, we'll go ahead and sew the 4 tabs first, and then I'll come back and sew the zipper inside of the and what I'll do, I'll just sew one of them on camera, and then the other ones I'll sew off camera. Just so you're not bored with watching me sew 4 tabs. If you have a sewing machine and you have a servo motor on it, if you put a reducer on it, it would allow you to sew and control your stitch without having to turn the wheel to control the speed of the sewing machine. Now we did have put a digital motor on here, but if you just have a servo motor, and a reducer will do the same thing. The motor do not have to be digital. I thought it did, but it does not. So that's what it looks like, and I'm gonna go ahead and sew the rest of them, and then we'll come back and sew the zipper. Size 138. And if your machine have a mechanism set up like this, you can take a 138 size thread. To me, it works better than the size 69. And the reason why I'm not sewing all the way back around is because these pieces are going inside those O-ring tabs. So there's no need to sew it all the way around. Burn this. So the next thing I'm going to do is sew the zipper in, but before I do, I'm going to change out my foot to a zipper foot. And if you don't have one, you don't have to use it. It just, to me, it just works better to have a zipper foot. But I worked for years without one. It does make things a little easier for you because the foot is not hitting up against your zipper teeth. Let's see here. So that's why I like using the zipper foot. But like I say, it's something you can do without. And I'm going to start from the top and sew my way back around. Now at this point, I'm going to leave the needle down inside, and I'm going to pull the zipper puller back so I can sew around it. Now I'm going to pull the the zipper puller back up. Now I'm going to sew across the zipper teeth, so I have to take my time, because if I hit one of the teeth, I have to use the back stitch in order to find a place to where the needle will go down in between the teeth. Sometimes it'll go through with no problem, as it just did, so that was good. Now I'm going to go back where I started, and I'm going to do my back stitch. So that's done. So the next thing I want to do is cut the zipper and once I cut the zipper, and then I'm going to sew this to the lining. So I'm going to change this foot back out because I need it to sew the zipper, the pocket onto the line.